It's 1988. America's godfather of soul has just plowed his brown pickup through the glass doors of an Augusta insurance office, waved a shotgun at clerks who dive for cover, and now he's tearing down Interstate 20 with 24 state troopers behind him. Cocaine is coursing through his veins. His marriage is in shambles, and millions of fans are about to watch a living legend implode on live TV. You won't believe what happens next. Wait till you see the next part. What could turn the hardest working man in show business into a one-man police chase? Tonight, we trace the road from Papa's got a brand new bag to a prison jumpsuit and the brutal cost of an unstoppable habit. James Joseph Brown was born in a one-room shack in Barnwell, South Carolina, and turned raw gospel shouts into a groove the world had never heard. By the mid-1960s, he owned the stage. Cape routines, one-inch heel slides, crowds fainting at the footlights. 24 number one R&B hits followed, and a band so tight he fined musicians $50 for missing a single cue. Reporters called him Mr. Dynamite, and he lived the nickname, touring 300 nights a year, rehearsing before soundcheck, recording after midnight. But the pressure behind that perfection was volcanic. In 1970, cocaine crept into the horn section, then into James's own dressing room. He liked the quick jolt it gave between encores, and the habit ballooned. Bandmates later swore he spent $500,000 in 1978 alone, nearly half his net income chasing white powder across hotel suites. By the early 80s, cracks in the empire were plain. Recording sessions stalled. Brown's legendary punctuality warped into 3-hour delays. Microphones flew across studios when takes went bad. He married Adrienne Rodriguez in 1984, but police visits to their Augusta home became routine. Angel dust, PCP, mixed with cocaine, sharpened paranoia. One night, convinced someone had bugged his limousine, he tore out the dashboard wiring with his bare hands. Fans felt the slide first on stage. Some nights, he played 2 songs, fired the promoter from the mic, rehired him backstage, then canceled the next show entirely. Back in New York, Rolling Stone ran a cover story. Is James Brown out of control? The Godfather's cape was starting to look like a shroud. Then came Saturday, September 24th, 1988. James and Adrienne had argued for days. He'd slept in his South Augusta office, a converted riverfront hangar where he stored guns and a half-empty vial of cocaine. Just after lunchtime, he stormed next door to an insurance seminar that was using his bathroom without permission. He shouldered a pump-action shotgun, cursed at the stunned agents, and blasted a hole in the ceiling. No one was hurt, but the room exploded in panic. Brown climbed into his pickup, gunned the engine, and pointed for the Georgia-South Carolina border. Within minutes, state troopers, sheriff's deputies, and city cruisers were converging on Interstate 20. Brown hit 90 miles an hour, weaving through traffic, and witnesses later said singing at the top of his lungs. Police laid spike strips. He dodged them. 6 cruisers collided in the chaos. At one point, officers fired on his tires. Bullets sparked off the rims. 29 miles later, a shredded rear wheel finally pinned the truck to one lane. Sparks hissed. The pickup slowed. James Brown, sweating, high, exhausted, opened the door and surrendered. Inside the glove box, officers found shotgun shells, an empty PCP vial, and white powder residue. At trial that December, the judge cited 5 priors, an arsenal of weapons, and the danger to civilians. Sentence: 6 years in state prison. James Brown grinned in court, but his eyes twitched. In a CNN interview from his cell, he shouted, "I feel good," through a smile that hid 2 broken teeth. Fellow inmates remembered 50-year-old Brown shadowboxing in the yard at dawn, still trying to stay stage ready. He served 29 months, reading the Bible, leading an a cappella gospel group, and giving impromptu concerts in the Chow Hall. When he walked free in February 1991, hip-hop producers were chopping his vintage drum breaks on every radio single. But Brown himself was drowning in lawsuits, IRS liens, and unpaid royalties. He mounted a few comebacks. Living in America hit the Rocky IV soundtrack. European dates sold out. But the cocaine rap sheet trailed him to every interview. Ask the musicians he mentored, and they'll tell you 2 truths. 1, James Brown invented funk's backbone. 2, the same iron will that drove him to practice till sunrise also refused to admit he had a disease. Questlove once said, "Funk is discipline, and discipline can kill you if you aim it inward." Brown's discipline had become a weapon he turned on himself. Yet, in his last decade, he played charity gigs for tsunami victims, marched in civil rights parades, and told inmates at every prison stop, "Your body's here, keep your mind free." That contradiction, militant perfectionist versus desperate addict, is James Brown. It's the story of genius in a chemical headlock. What you might never guess, listening to the sirens, reading the rap sheet, is that James Brown could also be the gentlest rescuer in the room. In April 1968, 24 hours after Dr. King's assassination, Boston was bracing for riots. Stores were boarding up. The mayor was considering a citywide curfew. Brown was booked at the Garden that night, and he marched into City Hall in a turquoise suit and said, "Let me sing and put it on every TV out for free." The mayor blinked, then agreed. Brown's concert went live on public television, and thousands of angry, grieving teenagers stayed home to watch their hero float across the stage instead of flooding the streets. Police later credited the Godfather of Soul, just him, a microphone and a cape, with saving the city from burning. Confidential substance abuse helpline at 1-862-HELP, or check the global resources linked below. Like this video if stories behind the music matter to you, and hit subscribe. Next week, we break down the day Prince walked out on his record label and won. Stay safe, stay funky, and thanks for watching.